like snacks? Do you like worlds? I just hit my computer. Do you like loot? Do you like gold? Cool, me too. What's up guys, how's it going? It's your boy, Trash, and today I bring you a pretty fun game for the Switch. But before anything else, I would like to thank my friends over at Nintendo Portugal for sending me out a key for this game in order for me to review it. They do send me a lot of keys, and if I don't think that the game fits the channel, I end up not reviewing it. However, I always end up playing them on Twitch, so head on over. Links in the description, check it out if you want to, catch me playing some of those games. Or drawing, since a lot of you like to see me draw. But let's go to the point. Let's review this game. Snack World, the Dungeon Crawl Gold on the Switch, is one of the latest titles from Level 5. The same people that brought us games like Ni no Kuni, Professor Layton, and even Yokai Watch, with which this game shares a lot of similarities with. In this game, you get gear, you fight in dungeons, you get loot, and you do it all over again, forever. First of all, I'd say that the biggest and best feature of this game is the ability to not take itself serious. The amount of jokes, the amount of times it breaks the fourth wall, and even the jabs it takes at other RPGs like Dragon Quest made it pretty fun to read and play through. So the moment you begin this game, your customized character conveniently has no memory, to which the princess mentions that you might even be the reincarnation of the hero, like in Dragon Quest. However, the king does say that this is not that type of RPG that we are in, and most likely our character is just filled with diseases and should stay outside of town. You're given a cell phone, which you put in and take out of your butt as many times as you want, and it will be your user interface for most of the things that you don't use as often, like checking your own stats, your Pokédex, so to say, or even just to save the game and check gameplay tips. That's as much as I'm gonna tell you about the story. Simple reason is that, even for me, someone who doesn't like reading, I ended up having a lot of fun going through the dialogue and having a lot of fun checking the story. It's not complex at all. It's actually pretty simple, pretty cookie cutter story, but the way it's written makes it fun. Most of the maps in this world have food names, like the town of Tutti Frutti, Succotash Sands, Minestrone Mines, Shaolin Temple, and many others. However, that's not where the snack in Snack World comes from. Snacks are actually your companions, that you can either transform into them or have them in your party. The way it works is that the more you fight enemies, which from now on I'll call snacks, the higher familiarity will build with their species. And the higher it gets, the higher is the chance for you to take a picture with your butt cell phone and later on equip up to 3 of them to go on dungeons with you, where they might take the role of tank, support, or damage. You can also equip other snacks as pocket snacks, which you will be able to transform after fighting for a while in a dungeon, making yourself the tank, the healer, or the support for some seconds, which in the end makes you able to try different strategies, different team compositions, or even keep that pocket snap that'll end up being your burst character. Every dungeon is RNG, from the enemy locations to the map layout, as it would be expected from a dungeon crawler. At the end of certain missions, you have the chance to get specific weapons, and if you don't get them on your first run, you can always repeat them as many times as you wish. The more objectives you hit during a run, the more chests you will get at the end of it, increasing the chance of your loot. And objectives are simply things like completing the mission, not letting anyone die in your team, or even finishing the end boss of the dungeon with a charged attack. There's also chests spread throughout the dungeon, which you might get by defeating snacks, or they're simply laying on the floor. And some of these might trigger twice, or have an increasing rarity drop. So you might not even need the final chest for the weapon you want. Or in the best case scenario, you get the same rare weapon several times in the same run. The reason for why you need that, let's be real. Deep down, this game is kind of like a gacha game, and in gacha games it's common for you to feed the same weapon or same type of character to itself. In this game, the Jaras, which are the weapons, can be fed to themselves to upgrade. Now, this doesn't only upgrade the stats on them, it also upgrades them visually. You get different colors. I know that's kind of meaningless, but what am I gonna do? I'm a material girl. Another thing I really liked, if you have any problems with side missions, which I didn't have, they were all not easy. You can just hop online, set up a lobby, and wait for people to join you. Every time I did this, or almost every time I did this, I had at least one person that would join me, help me out in the dungeon, and then they would most likely leave. But also, every time I played, I saw a couple of lobbies open that I could just join in and help with. But they were all higher level than me, so I didn't want to do that. If you know anyone with the game, you can just set up a lobby, they can join you, and run a couple of reruns of the same dungeon if you want. Fun. Even though there's no chat in this game, there are pre-made messages you can send out and the other person will see. And to show emotion, there's always those stickers that you can also use as speech bubbles, and it's one way to communicate. Now for my favorite part, the humor. It can be a little bit too much adult at times, so it could easily fly over a young player's head. From a robot named Pinocchio, which was created by Gelato, that, even though he's a robot, he has a foot fetish. Specifically an ankle fetish. 3 genies, which are one of my favorite snacks, being super dramatic. They prance and jump around instead of walking like any other normal character, and which in the original version are actually wearing BDSM outfits. And they can help you, coating them to make you sit or stand when you pee. This is the option to change your character sex. Something very subtle, but obviously adult humor. Or even the obsessive or kind of creepy way that your friend Choop loves the princess. Personally, I wouldn't consider any of this offensive. However, it will be up to you to judge if this is the kind of humor you want to expose your kids to. Me and many others grew up with shows like Johnny Bravo, and we ended up kinda normal. So it's fine. Now overall, my score for this game is an 8 out of 10. And I know I never really explained how I judge my games, so let me tell you now. My games are judged on fun, visuals, gameplay, music, and originality. This game is super fun, the visuals are really appealing, even though it is something that is a personal opinion, like anything else in my videos. The gameplay is pretty intuitive, nothing too crazy, but pretty fun to play, nothing really frustrating. Kakarot. The music is actually pretty fun. I didn't focus much of it because, copyrights. But originality, it's original when it comes to snack names and map names and, characters overall. But story-wise, it's a cookie cutter. So it's not very original. It's just fun. And fun, for me, is the most important thing in the game. I don't care if it's the most sold-out game in the world. If I don't find that game fun, it's trash. And this game is hella fun. The only downside is the price. 50 to 60 bucks, depending on where you are kind of a stretch for this type of games. But if you ever find it for about like 30, I would say that that's a fair price. It's a fairly long game. It has about, I believe, 10 to 11 chapters, and it has a lot of replayability, depending on how fun you find it. And if you do all the side missions, that's even more to do. Overall, I hope you like this video. If you do, hit that subscribe button for me, will you? And if you could leave a comment, I would deeply appreciate it. I'll see you on the next one. Stay tuned.